you guys, welcome back to my channel. Now I know I've been giving you guys loads of vlogs and fun and exciting type of videos. Exciting, at least I hope so, in the past few days or few videos that you've watched. But today we're switching it up and I'm sitting down and we're sort of getting into a topic that is a little bit heavy. Now, one of the questions that I get asked a lot whenever I'm sitting on a panel or giving a talk is how exactly I came up with my figures that are now currently on my rate card. How did I come up with the number? And I can understand why that is something that would plague you, especially if you're a creator or an influencer, or you're thinking of coming into this space. You obviously want to know, what is your worth? How are you going to price your time, your energy, your content, your posting? What is that number and how did you come up with it? It's so important that we try and figure out the sweet spot between, you know, being super greedy and asking for way too much money, but also not accurately representing your worth because you're too scared to ask for too much. So that there's a sweet spot, and so I'm hoping that this video will help you figure out what that is for you. And because I wanted it to be as helpful as possible, I thought, why not ask a couple of my friends who are in this space of, you know, digital media or do other things even outside of social media, so that it helps as many of you guys out there who are creatives and are trying to figure out how to price your deliverables, your time, your worth when speaking to and collaborating with a brand. So I'm going to insert the clips here of me with a couple of great people, influencers, phenomenal women, hardworking, successful in their own right. They're amazing. These people took the time out of their day to share with you guys these tips, so I pray that they are helpful and I pray that you have your notepad and pen and you start scribbling down what they're sharing, because you are in for a treat. Trust me. And we're filming. Look, I'm joined by Janet now. Janet MBUGUA, who's like the news anchor of all news anchors, That
is a very kind thing to say, Sharon.
She's a mother as well to a little boy called Huru. And I think by the time this comes out, you'll have announced.
I'll have announced.
That she's also expecting.
Let me show you. Let me remove the flap.
Oh, look at that. It's a little baby bump. Maybe, okay. We're also at NTV, which, let me just pan real quick. Yeah.
Before we're kicked out,
yeah,
right?
We're gonna try to like lower it down. But she also acts as ambassador to Lifebuoy.
Yes.
And you also have a project with Resolution Insurance as well. An ambassador, right?
It's also an endorsement as an ambassador.
Look at that.
I know.
And she also works as like an MC. She when it comes to like making money moves, being a boss lady, she's the lady to ask. So Janet, what are your tips when it comes to like figuring out your rates? How did you get to your numbers, whatever they are?
That's a good question. I think I consider how long I've been in the industry. Like, I started media about 10 years ago. Yeah. So there's certain rates that I kept then, and I just started telling myself it's okay to keep increasing that rate with the experience that increases. Okay. On top of that, I did a lot of research and homework and found out what is the market rate for someone who's, and it's not necessarily based on experience, because you could have new people who come on board but they're so amazing that they can command a certain rate. Case in point. So based on that, I began to realize there was a time I actually felt like I was selling myself short. And so after doing a lot of research, I realized this is the rate that seems to be in the market, but at the same time, because I don't want to be super outrageous, I'm just going to meet in the middle. And I realized there were certain rates that companies were very happy to sign on for. And so I told myself, just keep a standard where there are companies that are happy to give you the rate that you feel you deserve. You've done your homework, you've built your brand, you know you deliver. I work very hard, and so if someone signs me on, I tell them this, I guarantee you I will deliver. I'll make sure that what is it that you want out of this, what's the value add, and I'll even do times 10. Wow. And I'm very confident about that, and I say, no, I have a record. You can even ask, you know, previous companies. And so that's how I determine my rate. And it's a little bit about also being comfortable and confident in your professionalism. And so that's how I determine my rate. So a little bit of homework, a little bit of can you believe it?
A lot of love,
Amina, the reason we're here.
The reason we're here, she's interviewing us for the trend.
Exactly, she's interviewing us for the trend.
So I like that you need to be confident in your abilities and your deliverables. And you've got 10 years in the bag.
And
so
also
that really helps you. And do your research, you said.
Why did you guys overdress? That is my question. Why did you overdress?
Look, you always
also,
look the part.
Like, what's going on?
It's my birthday tomorrow, so I
Christine is like, you need to keep your voices down.
Okay, we're gonna go now.
We're gonna go now. You're welcome. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Patricia Kihoro, you guys. So, if you don't know who Patricia Kihoro is, she's only a singer, an actress, a radio presenter, an MC, a hostess with the mostest. Like, what else have I missed out?
Boda Boda Association brand ambassador, Baba. I also give twerk lessons to guys.
Twerk lessons,
twerking to guys.
Okay. So
I'm also starring in a movie called Fatal Attraction.
Right, take over.
That's just for I feel like I should wear glasses so that even may look smart.
Okay, you can go get glasses. Given that she's got all these things that she's doing, what better person to ask as our next female successful business lady for details on how you came up with your costs? How do you come up with the amount that you put in your rate card?
So one, what I did, I remember a few years ago, was it 3-4 years ago? I remember asking you for your rate card.
Right.
I was just like, please just help.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't necessarily like coming into the influencer space to be, it's just I found myself in that space because I'd gained a following from all the stuff that I do. And it's because previously you'd also called me asking me about TV and rates and stuff.
Radio as well.
Yeah, and radio.
Yeah.
So when somebody
there
asked
was a rapport.
Yes.
All right.
So it's really important to just ask. Number two was also, one thing I've realized about the industry here is that if a company or a corporate or a brand already has a set budget, they might not really budge that much. So if they see your rate card and they're like, okay, so she charges this for this and this and this, and we want this, we're going to give her this. No, most times it's just like, okay, this is how much we have. So I've learned also to be like, okay, for this much, this is what I can do for you.
Okay. Right, so to reverse it.
Yeah.
So what is your budget?
Yeah.
Let me see what I can.
Yes, because for me, negotiation, it's really time consuming and it's mentally exhausting. And I've come to realize that a lot of people are not negotiating to meet you where you're at. They're just like, they're asking for a rate card and then they're just like, I owe you. So I actually had to include in my rate card, while these rates are reflective of the market rate for somebody with my numbers, I'm also willing to, one, negotiate and come up with a flat rate that, you know, works with the client's budget. And two, I've also noted that there's some campaigns I'm happy to work on for free if, you know, I see that the payoff is good and that it's something worthwhile that I would be happy to support.
Oh, okay. So like a bigger purpose message type of thing.
Also just research. There's I use Webfluential quite a bit, not even just for getting jobs, but Webfluential has once you set up all your profiles, it'll do a count of your followers, and then it will let you know for Instagram, this is what to charge, or this is what people with a similar following are charging. And because it's Webfluential for Africa, it's not like
America.
So the rates are kind of sort of more reflective of our industry and economic climate.
They help you calculate, so it's a good starting point.
Yeah. The last one I would say is if a brand approaches me for a campaign or something, I usually also ask them if they are working with any other influencers. One, just because it's nice to know if there's other people who you're friends with or who you know or who you can create content with for the brand, but also so that you can call them and be like, yo, I'm not shy about speaking about money and money conversations, and I don't know why we were taught not to speak about money.
Yeah, but I think if you're close and you feel safe with someone, then you might as well just make the most of that relationship and grow together, because you could also, you never know how you could be played, you could be cheating yourself. Maybe you're asking for 20,000 shillings, but they are willing and happy to pay 200,000 shillings. Those are good ones. You guys, I hope you've loved this session. Okay, so I'm now going to add on to what they've shared, and hopefully everything together will be what you need for you to comfortably create your rate card. Okay, so the first thing you want to consider are your numbers. Do you have 5,000, 50,000, or 500,000 followers currently across your social media? What are your numbers? And I know that might be obvious, but I'm just gonna put it out there anyway. Numbers mean a lot. And that's why even sometimes for influencers and creators, it can be a little confusing because you want to grow this number, but at the same time, you don't want to not be true to yourself just so that you can get the likes or so that you can get the hits or all of that. So that can often be a struggle. But also moving on from that, engagement rate is important to consider. So the average when it comes to your engagement rate is about 3%. And that basically means, so say for instance, you've got 10,000 followers, and whenever you post photos, you get about 8,000 likes, which that engagement rate is massive. I think that's very, very rare. But if that was the case, then that is amazing. And I think that's what's allowed micro influencers to really flourish, because their engagement rate is quite high and the relationship that they have with their followers is so strong. And I think that's amazing because it's also allowing room for more people to come into the space. But basically what I'm saying is engagement rate counts, and there are sites that will help you calculate that so that you don't have to be online trying to do like your math and da-da-da. And I'll leave a link to one of those sites in the description box so that you can do the calculations yourself. Now, another thing you most definitely need to consider are your costs. How much did it take you to put up that post? You probably needed to hire a photographer, you needed an outfit, you needed props maybe, I don't know what exactly you needed, but there are costs attached to putting up that post. So you want to try and list down what those costs are for you. If there are some standard costs, maybe you're paying an accountant, maybe you've got an assistant, maybe you bought assets, maybe you bought a camera, the phone, I don't know, whatever it is that the tools that you need to create content. You need to take that into consideration, look at it from an annual perspective. And this is the point also, I'm going to ask that you refer to your accountant or your friend who took accounting, your uncle, your aunt, I don't know. Ask them for help because it can be a little bit tricky, and I also needed to get help because I was like, what should I include here? What is it? What is it? But that's one thing that I found made my life a lot easier, because a lot of times I wouldn't take that into consideration when I was coming up with an amount, especially at the beginning. The first time I billed a client, it came to a grand total of 5,000 shillings. That's $50 for you guys. And it was like, I had all these things I was saying that I was going to do, like loads that I put in there. And sure, my numbers weren't where they are today, but I mean, I put everything and my all into that, short of just giving them a kidney. I was like, here, take everything. And I still felt like I was overcharging them. I just felt so guilty about that, which may be an issue that us women have, where we try and shortchange ourselves, which I really had to fight through that. But right, costs. 5,000 shillings is what I was telling you. And I can assure you, I spent more money on fuel over that 1 month period where I was working with them. 100%. So if I was to at least have taken into consideration my costs, I would have known that 5,000 is for sure not too much. And in fact, it was quite little, but it took some time, right? So all I'm saying is consider your costs. And then when it comes to creating your rate card, make sure that this document speaks to your brand. So if your brand is very serious and very professional, then it needs to reflect the same on your rate card. If you're more fun and creative and maybe a little spunky, a little wild, have that reflect in your rate card. Make sure that whoever is reading that or looking at that document is able to immediately connect the two, that there's no disparity between who you are online and what this document is. Other things you may want to include in there are your accolades, maybe a little bit of history. How did you start? Very brief. Again, no one wants to read a 10-page essay when they're just most likely they're just zooming in on the page where your numbers are. But it's important if someone doesn't know you, right? And maybe you're sending this as part of a proposal to a new client who doesn't know you, then you want to give a bit of history. Have you been featured anywhere in the press? Have that. Have you worked with any exciting brands? Maybe have a page with that, all the brands that you've partnered up with recently or in the past 2 years. Let them get to know you, court them, have this beautiful, it's like dating, you know, you just want to be like, hey, this is who I am, before you're like, pow, this is how much I'm worth. I don't know anything about dating. What am I saying? Also, I have my book of notes right here, so I'm looking down to make sure I don't forget anything. And my last point is learn from your mistakes. If you are to approach a brand today and you quote them this and you realize, yo, that was too little, always make note of that. Immediately go back and change. If you realize, oh, actually I didn't put 16% VAT in my rate card. It wasn't clear that that was exclusive of that. Go back to your rate card. Learn from your mistakes. And that's where even your sponsorship policies come in, right? And that's how, those are your rules of engagement. That's how you work. Make sure even, you may even want to feature that page, a one-pager, maybe a small section in your rate card where you're just sharing how you like to work. When do you expect payment? I don't know what it includes for you, and I don't know what you're doing, but whether you are a photographer, whether you MC gigs, whether you are a DJ, what else do people do? An actress, social media influencer, you name it, model. I don't know. You will find that as you go along this journey, you will make a lot of mistakes, and it's okay. That's how you learn. You are not perfect. You are growing. You're evolving. You will eventually come into your own. And I'm not saying like I figured this space out completely, but I have been doing it for, whoa, 6 years. I always, like every time I think of how long I've been doing it, I go into like a, I really hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much to Janet and to Patricia for sharing their tips with us, with you guys. And I genuinely, I'm not kidding, I actually learned from what they had to share. And it's a great space to be in. This digital age has opened so many doors, and I'm so glad that there's more and more brands appreciating and understanding what influencers are about and what they do. Sometimes you will find brands that just basically do not appreciate your worth, and you've got to put your foot down because you know your worth. You know how much you put into your work, and you know what it takes to create. So hopefully this helps you. I wish you the best of luck. And thank you again to the ladies who so graciously shared their tips on here. I'm not gonna lie, I also had Susan Wong who shared her tips, but I lost the footage and I am gutted. I am gutted. So I'm gonna go attend to a crying baby who I hope you cannot hear and didn't ruin this video for you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.